Hello everyone, welcome back to Code and Boots. So in this video we are going to discuss about the groups in GitLab. So we have been discussing about various topics related to GitLab. So now we will see how we can organize projects in a GitLab. So let's see how it works. Okay, so I have a GitLab account. So I'll show you how to create groups. So if you log into the GitLab, on the left hand side you will see projects, groups, issues, merge requests. There are several sections you will see. So we'll go through each of these sections in one of the video, one by one in various videos. So in this video, let's discuss about group. So when you click on groups, so you will see the various groups that is present in the GitLab. So in GitLab, so you can create projects and you can organize projects by creating groups. So group is basically, we can say, a category to organize the project. Okay, so you can create several groups as you want. So what you can do is you can create groups and you can create even let's say it's kind of a category, let's say. So you can create subgroups within that and you can have projects inside the group or the subgroup. So in this way, let's say you have development team and infrastructure team. Okay, so you wanted to commit the code related to development team under the development group and infrastructure team under the infrastructure group. Okay, so in this way you can segregate the code so under various groups and grant the permissions according to what you wanted to give. Okay, so because this group is not just like a segregation, you can enable permission also to the users through these groups. Okay, so because GitLab is we can say it's a for an organization, we will not be hosting multiple GitLabs. It will be just one GitLab, and various groups or various functional teams within the organization can use the same GitLab. So what we will usually do is we create various structures. Structures means basically like segregations within the GitLab itself in the form of groups, and we create projects under the group. Okay, so and one more topic to discuss is basically the various user permissions, the various different type of user permissions in GitLab. So users there are basically 5 roles, user roles by default in GitLab. So apart from this, we can create custom roles, but the user roles are like guest, reporter, developer, maintainer, and owner. So the owner will have the highest access, maintainer will have the next level access, basically less than owner, but it will have more than developer, the access, the developer that more privileges than developer. So he will have most of the places he will have write access. And developer, so developer will have good level of access, but it is not as good as maintainer. Reporter mostly yearly access and some minimal access. Guest, it's kind of very restricted access. Okay, they will not have access to get into projects or make any changes or anything. Okay, so these access, the access level of each of these roles, so it is specific to each of the features in the GitLab, because GitLab is kind of a very big application. It has several features like a repository, package registry, groups. Okay, it has applications. There are so many features within GitLab. So issues, so many things are there. So if you wanted to compare the permissions of each of these roles within GitLab, so I'm talking about the default roles. So you can refer to gitlab.com user permissions HTML. Okay, so this explains, so guest, reporter, developer, maintainer, owner. So what are the level of access to each of these action? If you see analytics, under analytics section, there are a couple of operations. Okay, view related, issue analytics, view value stream analytics, view DORA metrics, view CI/CD analytics. So you can see guest has some limited privilege, reporter has some privilege because mostly view access, all access are the same for all roles. But if you see application security and all, reporter doesn't have access but developer has access. But GitLab agent related things, developer has access, reporter doesn't have access. Application security for create things, developer doesn't have access, maintainer also does not have access, owner has access. So like this, there are various categories of permissions. So those things you will be able to refer to this. Okay, so you can, if you are looking for a specific category, let's say like repository related. So repository related, what you can do is you can see here merge request, so all these are like repository related operations. You will be able to see the specific permissions corresponding to that particular action for each of the role. So I'm not going to explain those permissions here. You can refer to this URL and understand the permission. But usually, as the name suggests, for normal developers we give developer role. So for the owner of the project we give owner, and for leads, or basically for we can say like the senior member in the development team, so we usually give maintainer access. For normal developers we just give developer access. Okay, that is what we give. Okay, so and for junior developers we give reporter role. So you can go through this permission and understand what is required. And let's say if these roles are not suiting your needs, what you can do is you can create a custom role to handle this. So now let's get back to the groups part. So for that, what we will do is let's try to create a new group. Okay, so I'm going to create maybe coder group. So you can give the group example. So there is a specific naming convention for the groups. So it's explaining. It can also contain dashes, spaces, parentheses. So must starts with the letter, digit, emoji, or underscore. So there are a specific set of rules for how to create group name. Okay, and you can specify whether a group need to be private or public. Let's say an organization wanted to keep some of the code as public and some as private. What they can do is they can create a public group and keep the public code inside the public, under the public group. And if they want something private, they can create private group or a set of private groups and keep the code under the private group, or your repository under the private group. So role basically depending upon it's basically to give you recommendation on what features or what type of features you will see under the projects within the group. So it is just you can specify what type of code belongs to this group. So then what you will be using this project. Okay, who will be using this? These are all basically the metadata related thing. You can skip and just create the group. And if you want to invite members, you can directly invite there, or you can even invite later. So similar to the group, you can create subgroups. So in this way you can create hierarchies. So hierarchy means you can have teams, maybe like a project team. It will have implementation team, development team, UI team, infra team. So you can create groups for each of those. So for example, so let's create something here. So maybe a project called IoT product. Okay, so under this we have dev backend. Okay, and it has front end, infra, and implementation, testing. Okay, so this is we can say in the product team we have delivery. Okay, so under the product, let's say we have something called delivery. So this is basically the delivery team, and under delivery we have these many team members. And let's say, so under the project we have another group, management. So in this way we can create groups. We can add users who are the management related basically activities for tracking the dashboards or all those kind of things. You can have something under here. Delivery team, you can create delivery group. Under that we can create groups for backend, front end, infra, implementation, testing, everything. And under backend, if you want to add some other, so let's say you will have the code repository here, code repo. This is the project. Okay, so repo. So here also under this you will have the code repo. Infra team will be developing some infrastructure as code, Terraform or something. So they also will have code repo. So they will have their own packages. So under the code repo they will have packages, images. Okay, similarly front end, they will have packages, they will have also Docker images. So they will have also packages, they will have also Docker images. So like this, I mean, we can create groups, create projects under the group, define permissions. Let's say backend there are 10 team members, front end there are like, I mean, 5 developers, infrastructure team there are 2 members, implementation team there are a couple of team members, testing team there are a couple of team members. So all those team members you can grant access, and let's say like, I mean, the product owner, so you can have level at the IoT product group level itself. So if you are giving at this level, it will be propagated to all the level down. Okay, it will be propagated down to everyone, so every level below. So it's basically, if you are giving someone to delivery, they will have access to all the groups below or the projects below. So it goes in that way. So if you are giving it at the top, it will be propagated down. So that is how the group works. So now we have created a group. Okay, so now let's see what are the options available in the group. So we can create again subgroups, create projects under the group. All these options are possible. So now I'm not going to explain like, I mean, the subgroup and all. It is similar. So you can create a project here, or you can create a subgroup here. So we already know how to create a project and subgroup, everything. Okay, so now let's explore the options on the left hand side. So one is basically the issues merge request. Okay, so it will basically give a summary of all the merge requests and the issues that is coming under the group. Let's say like, I mean, in our example, so let's say if I am looking at the IoT product group, so if I click at the issues or merge request, I'll be able to see the issues and the merge request related to all the subgroups and the subprojects. Okay, so the subprojects, the projects belonging to the subgroups within this IoT project group over here. Okay, so I'll be able to see the summary of all the merge requests and the issues here. Then manage means activity. Here also I will be able to see all the activity that is happening, the push events, merge events, issue events, comments, wiki, team, all those activities under this group or the projects under the subgroups or groups here. Members, I can add group level members. Okay, let's say I wanted to add a new member, so I can add a member here. So I can basically enter the user ID, and then I can specify what level of access I need to give. This is why I explained the roles and permissions, whether the person need reporter, developer, maintainer, owner, what level of access you want to give, you can give. And access expiry date, it's optional. You can give an expiry date also. Let's say you wanted to add a developer, and the staffing of the developer is maybe for 2 months. You can give the expiry for 2 months. So what will happen is, you don't need to remove that member after the expiry. It will automatically, GitLab will take care of removing that user by default. So this is recommended. Always give access expiration date, because it is recommended. Otherwise, cleaning up the users in the GitLab will be like a problem. So it's always better to while inviting the member itself, based on the allocation of that specific member, you always give this expiration date, so that the GitLab will take care of the expiry automatically. Then labels is basically, you can create the for categorizing the issues and the merge request. So you can create labels. We can say it's just a metadata related thing. Then inside this, again, we have like, I mean, the issues is something that we discussed. So here, I mean, under the project, whatever issue you are creating, right, all those basically issue boards, milestones, all, it's basically something related to the project management part. So whatever you can actually have issue board, issues, milestones created under a specific group. Okay, so again, code merge request. So this is basically, it will show the summary of all the merge request under the projects within this group. Build. Okay, so build is basically for here we have an option called runners. Okay, runner is basically when you do a build, when you basically run a GitLab pipeline, the pipeline needs to be executed on some infrastructure, right? So that is executed through something called runner. Okay, so you are storing the code here inside the GitLab repository, but when it runs means when you are doing the GitLab pipeline, the pipeline needs to run on a machine. It can be Windows machine, Linux machine, or it can be any other operating system machine. But there are like shared runners available in the GitLab, but when you want to set up something dedicated, okay, if you wanted to create a runner which is dedicated to like your project or a group, so you need to deploy it on your own hardware. The reason why we need to create group specific runner is because in some cases you will need some specific runners, okay, access to a specific target deployment environments. For example, let's say you have an AWS environment and you wanted you have some code in some project and you wanted the deployment directly to happen to some of the AWS services. So that means your GitLab need to interact with AWS services, and you will need permission to the AWS services, right? So you will enable or you will create your own runner, and you will use AWS IAM roles in that specific runner machine to enable deployment to the specific services that you want. So in that scenario, it's like kind of a secured runner, and you will enable access from this specific group, so that other projects or other repositories or other users will not be able to access this runner. Only the projects running within this group, right? Only this projects can access this runner. Okay, this will not be accessible to anyone outside. It will be only, this runner will be accessible only within this within the projects in this group. Okay, so this is why we will need something called a group runner, and this way we can secure the runner also, and also we can have runners, dedicated runners. That means the runner will be available for the jobs within the group, so you don't have to wait for like let's say there are 1,000 members in an organization and you are creating a group with 10 members. If you are creating a group member runner, so that runner will be accessible only for the 10 members. Okay, so you will get dedicated resource. I have already explained about the creation of runner, registration of runner in one of the previous videos. You can go and watch the video. Okay, that will help you to understand more about the runner. I can pin the video on somewhere on top of this video to easily navigate there. Then next is like the deploy, basically the package registry and the container registry. So this is something that I have already explained. So this basically shows like the packages and the containers available within this group. Okay, so this is not something that you are creating it here. It basically shows the packages and the containers that is part of this, the projects within this group. Okay, so packages and the containers are part of what? It's part of projects, and you will see it basically like once you have it deploy, push to this particular registry. So then there is something called dependency proxy. Dependency proxy is basically what? So let's say like if you are this is basically, I'll explain once I explain the settings part. Okay, so dependency proxy and Terraform proxy is basically, so it will just if like you are referring to a package registry, and if the package is not available in that particular package registry, so what will happen is it will basically like push it from the publicly available registry. So like, for example, Docker container. So if it is not available in your Docker, what will happen is in your internal registry, what will happen is it will go to Docker Hub and pull the particular or the corresponding image which is available in the Docker Hub. So let's go to the settings part of it. So you will see general. So general, it's basically giving you group ID. So similar to project, so every project and group will have unique IDs. So you can get the group ID from here. Okay, so the name, you can have image. Okay, you can set the visibility, permissions, and the group features. You can see like set whether who can invite, who can create the subgroups, email notifications. Okay, so all those kind of permissions maintain. So what are the roles allowed to create the subgroups, whether owner can create or sub maintainers can create. So multi-factor authentication, so all those related things. So basic settings, it is there in the general section. Integration. Okay, so integration, that is again like what are the additional app integration that we can configure as part of. So Asana is the project management. Okay, so Bugzilla, again it is like a issue tracker. So what are the various integrations that you can do here? So maybe like I'll go to the CI/CD part. So here one of the important thing is basically the variables. Okay, variables and runners are something that we use on daily basis. So variable is basically like the variables that we define at the group level. So if you are defining, let's say you wanted to set some credentials, okay, but you don't want to see you don't want the credentials to be seen by the developers, but you wanted to set the credentials, set the variables at the group level, so that the projects within the group can access it, but they will not be able to see it. Okay, so let's say you are defining a variable, so you can mask the variable so that it will not be accessible, because the settings part is accessible only to the maintainers or owners. Others will not be able to see the settings part, so they will not be able to come and open the variables under the group. Okay, so you can define it at the group level. So let's say I am defining maybe a variable db password, my database password. Okay, I am defining the variable here and I am defining the value here. So this db password variable will be accessible for the whatever environments you are defining here. Okay, so those environments it will be accessible, but let's say it will not be, they will not be able to see it, because as I am keeping a mask variable, what will happen is it will not be even if they try to print it on the console, they will not see the value, they will see it just star star star. It is the value will be masked. Okay, so similarly, if I select protect variable, what will happen is it will be accessible only to protected branches. So protected branches I will explain later, because when you create a branch in the GitLab project setting, there is something called what are the protected branches. So protected branch is something where you can restrict who can interact with the protected branch, what role can interact with the protected branch. So I'll explain about protected branch in a separate video. So but it's something basically not everyone can commit or interact with that specific branch. That's the reason protected branch. You can specify what branch can access this particular variable. Okay, so in this way you can define variable at the group level so that you can share, make the, or you can enable your developers to access it, but you can hide the value. So similarly, this is one important thing. Then second thing is while defining variable, you can define it as a single variable or a file. File means this whatever content you are storing it here, it will go, the key will go as a file, so you can access this particular whatever name you are giving. It will be, let's say env variables. Okay, you can have maybe a equal to b equal to 20, like this. You can define contents here, and this will go as a file. Env variables, this will go as a file. So you can basically maybe source this environment variable, or you can access this as a file in your pipelines. Okay, so if you, that is the difference between the type variable and a file. Variable means it's a single value thing, so variable means it is just a single value thing. Okay, so but if it is of type file, that means it is a long text, you can have multiple things and it will just go as a file. Okay, that is the difference between variable and file. Then next is okay, so that's about the variables part. Then the runners I already explained. Basically you can configure whether to enable shared runners to this group. That means the shared runner is basically something that is available across this GitLab instance. So if you enable it, then this project or the projects within the group will be able to access the shared runner. Or let's say if you are creating the runners here, the dedicated runners, then basically, so if you are disabling this, then these projects will be able to only use the dedicated runners. So the runners can be created at the you can create it at the project level. Okay. Then next is applications. Here you can create app integrations. So that you can create it by using add application. So here the redirect URI, all those kind, and basically the scope. So what are the API related permissions, those things you can configure it here. Okay, so package registry, it's again, so this is something that we have discussed some time back. So there was the application, the package proxy, right? So here let's say you are using GitLab as a package registry. Then so we can specify what are the package formats to support: Terraform modules, NuGet, generic, okay, Maven. So this will configure the type of package formats to support, and also duplicates. Duplicate means if you are pushing the same version of the package, again what will happen is it will create so by default it will allow. So but if you disable it, what will happen is if you are trying to upload the same version again, it won't accept. So if you are uploading the same version again and again, what will happen is under the package version you will see the same file twice, and but when you're trying to access, what will happen is it will only take the latest. Okay, so the version number will be the same, but duplicates will be uploaded again and again. So if you disable this, it will not accept duplicates. Okay, so then these are like the package forwarding part. So forwarding part is, let's say if you see forward package request to public registry if the package is not found in the GitLab registry. So let's say you are referring this GitLab as a package registry for maybe your internal project or for our internal team. So you just need to refer to GitLab. It will pull all the related all the packages which is available in GitLab, and whatever is missing or the dependencies, it will forward the request to the publicly available registry and pull the packages. It will become act as a satellite, okay, or a mirror repository. Similarly, PyPy, the package, this is like the Python related packages. This is the Node related packages. Okay, and this is like the dependency proxy. Dependency proxy is again same thing. So whatever available, not available, it will pull from the satellite repository and it will cache inside this GitLab, so that it will not pull it again and again. So if let's say if I want an image which is related to Ubuntu, which is not available in my Docker registry, it will get pulled from the remote and it will get cached in the GitLab instance. So the storage of GitLab will be used for the cache. Okay, then this will show the usage quotas. So it will show the number of seats. Okay, so seats means the number of users. So depending upon the licensing, you will see how many are used. Pipelines, so basically depending upon if it is like a paid one, you will see what's the usage, how many hours of this pipeline execution is used. So there is something called compute and storage. Okay, so it will show as this is a new group, that's why you are seeing it as empty, but if it is something used, you will see some usage here. Okay, storage also depending upon the plan, you will see how much of storage is used inside this group. Okay, storage means the code that you are storing, the artifacts that you are storing, the packages, the pipeline will have the artifacts and the temporary storage, right? So the packages, Docker images, everything will be considered as storage. Okay, the product analytics, it will show the projects and the various analytics related KPIs in this section. Billing is basically the plans. Okay, so those things you will see it under the billing section. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Okay, so this explains what we have under the group and what you will see it here. So now in the coming sessions, what I'll do is I'll explain the usage of groups. Okay, enabling permissions at the group level. Okay, creating runners at the group level. Those kind of topics I'll include in the upcoming videos. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have any questions or queries, feel free to comment below this video. I'll get back to you. Thank you.